Okay, we have here the Six of Pentacles. This is a card about generosity, wanting to help people, wanting to assist people, wanting to dish out advice, wanting to give financial assistance to others who might be in a less fortunate situation. I see this for a lot of fire signs. You guys want to right wrongs. You guys want to balance out injustices in the world. So I feel like this is a very magnanimous, loving, selfless energy about you. And you do a lot for other people too. And I feel like, you know, going back to that image, it seems as if you're giving into a situation or you're trying to help somebody, but the Magician in the reverse, you might not exactly know how to go about it the right way, or they're only giving you a piece of the story and they're not giving you the complete picture. Okay, so there are two things at work here. The first thing is that, yes, you want to communicate and you want to be physically available to offer assistance in a situation. But in the process of offering assistance, in the process of giving that helping hand, like physically jumping in and helping somebody, you need to assess your surrounding, you need to assess your environment, and you need to make sure there is an exit strategy. Okay, so then what starts out as you going in to help this woman who's stuck on the side of the crevice of the mountain, then you both become stuck. Okay, so I feel like there is a situation here where we have to be a little bit more strategic. The Magician, this is somebody who knows the ins and out of a situation. They've already mastered the situation. When it's in the reverse position, I just feel like there are elements that you're not really taking into account. There are factors that you haven't considered. And it's sort of like, you know, jump in first and then ask questions later, which might not be conducive to problem solving. When we problem solve, we have to know the ins and out, the beginning and the end. And we have to be able to look at a situation completely and thoroughly with full information in order for us to come up with the best and the most logical solution to that problem. So that's what I'm sensing here. And so the scene cuts, well, it weaves back in, and it's like a nighttime scene. And, you know, so he and the woman have been waiting there for a really long time. It starts out in the daytime, and then the moon comes out, and they're both still on that crevice. So he's scanning his environment, and then he's realizing, I'm not going to be able to use these wings. And even if I have enough of a running start, I'm not going to be able to hold her and maintain my balance in order for us to soar away or to, you know, land safely. And so he takes off the artificial wings. He sets it down and he tells her, we're going to climb down this mountain. There are trees. We're going to, you know, try our best to grab onto these branches and, you know, gradually make our way down to the base of the mountains. And then he tells her, I'm going to give you these wings. You need to hold on to it for me. That way I can carry you, or you can, you know, climb on my back, and then I'll get us down safely. And she's so scared that she's just like, she's afraid of heights, or she's just really traumatized and she's really scared. So she doesn't really budge. Okay. She's just really scared. And so he's getting frustrated trying to tell her, like, you need to help me. You can climb on my back, and then, you know, I'll get you down safely. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And then finally she doesn't feel like she has a choice. And so she climbs on his back, and then it's like a really hard journey. It's a lot of work pulling his own weight, her weight, and the wings, in order for them to gradually climb down from one branch, from one little crevice to the next. And then finally they arrive at the base of the mountain, and then she just kind of takes off. She's so scared that, you know, she didn't realize, oh, thank you so much for helping me. She just sort of takes off, and then it cuts out again. So what I'm feeling in this situation is you really need to examine your environment. There is something here about looking at a situation very carefully before you jump in. And there's an element as well. I feel like trauma, trauma, you might be dealing with somebody who has dealt with a lot of trauma. They can't think correctly. They can't tell you a story in a linear, chronological, order. They can't really make sense of a situation. So when you're interacting with them and communicating with them, they're only telling you things that are most prominent, but they're not really telling you the beginning to the end. And you're not really asking the right questions because you guys are very solution oriented. You want to jump over the past and you want to, okay, we're here right now. Let's focus on the now. Let's find a solution. But I feel like there are things that you have to unravel and make sense of and understand from the past so that you can have a more comprehensive solution to that situation. Does that make sense? What I'm feeling is, I feel like for many of you, you're trying to get around a situation. Like there is a blockage in front of you. You're trying to get around it. And for some of you, legal issues. For others, I'm seeing institutions like, I'm seeing for many of you, like this is the card that came through, the Hierophant in the reverse position. It's a situation where the structure is very, very rigid, but there are a lot of loopholes. There are a lot of strategic maneuvering that you need to make in order for you to get around the situation. So if you were to kind of like attack it head on, you're not going to be able to gain traction. However, if you were to go back and look at the laws, look at the rules, look at the regulations, look at how things have been done in the past, look and study up, okay? He's reading a book here, so I feel like studying up, researching, being able to figure out logically how one thing connects to the other so that you can have full information before you can take on this task. So I feel like on the one hand, you want to help another person. You want to help a situation. You want to make a situation better. But in the process of getting involved, you find yourself very like pulled in, and you find yourself possibly emotionally swayed by another person, by their sob story, by the things that they're telling you. And I feel like you're only hearing things from their perspective. And yes, you're very generous and you want to help, but this situation can land you in hot water. So you need to be very, very, very careful about other people's intentions, what they're telling you, and whether or not they're telling you information that is important, or they're telling you information that is very subjective because, not because they're manipulative. I don't sense that. But because they could be dealing with trauma and they could be giving you information that they think is important, but that doesn't really add to the fact finding that's necessary to arrive at a good solution. Does that make sense? I'm going to give you an example because I have some things that are coming out. Okay. So I feel like somebody is telling you the law says this, but I want you to do this. And there's some deviousness or there's some evasion of the law. Okay. Either for financial gains or either to gain something. And in your mind, there are some red flags that are going off like, no, this is wrong because it's against the law. But I also feel like they're coming up with a very persuasive argument. And rather than focusing on the fact that, yes, it is against the law, they're focusing on the future, which is, yeah, but if you do this one thing, you're going to end up with all of these amazing opportunities and benefits. And they hype up the story and you feel very drawn to it because so the bottom line is we're focusing on the future. If everything goes according to plan, we're going to get all of these benefits. However, What if things don't go according to plan? The future is all speculative. And so I want you to be a little bit careful about dealing with people who speculate, dealing with people who paint you this beautiful, amazing story, and then you jump in and then you find yourself very, very stuck. So this is something I feel can be avoided and should be avoided. So if you're still watching this, I hope that you take that into account. If you're dealing with people who are painting this rosy picture, and especially if they're not able to give you the whole story, or if they're not able to give you, step-by-step instructions on how to do something, but they only focus on the benefits, they only focus on conjecturing or even speculating, this is what's going to happen, this is what we're going to get. So please be careful about that, okay, Aries? So going back to the message, the image that I saw, okay, and this woman, she's distressed. I feel like he spent the whole day, okay, he was stuck there, he found himself stuck, and then nightfall comes, and then he was very much focused on the solution. And I feel like the important question that is relevant, but that was not asked, was, hey lady, how'd you get on this side of the mountain? Did someone drop you here? Did someone retaliate? Did you do something bad? How did you find yourself on this tiny little crevice in the middle of nowhere on this mountain? I feel like that was a question that needed to be asked. How did you get yourself in this situation? Okay, and then the fact is that he helped her. He pulled her weight, he pulled his own weight, he helped her down the side of the mountain, and then she just takes off without a thank you, without, that gratitude, without and she might have taken his wings too. I believe she was holding on to his wings. And so he finds himself, at the base of the mountain, and he's like, okay, what's going to happen to him? So I feel like you kind of need to really think about yourself a little bit more and think about what's going to happen to me at the end of this? What if things don't go according to plan? What if I have to make a detour? Is there a plan B? Are there ramifications? Are there, pitfalls? Are there things that I can do differently to get the same results? So there are a lot of questions that I feel are not being asked, and there are a lot of things that I feel are not being planned accordingly. If you're dealing with a family situation, I feel like you guys, it might be a family environment. You want to jump in, you want to give your 100%, you want to offer financial assistance, you want to help the other person do something. But I feel like their track record might not, look at their track record, look at their actions in the past. Don't look at the things that they're hoping to achieve. Look at what their track record says about their ability to follow through, their ability to be truthful and honest, and to, implement plans, and to be self-sufficient, and to do things on their own. Because I feel like some of you might be giving financial assistance to a person because they're like, oh, I've got this great business idea. I need, X amount of money. Can you loan me that money? Because in the future, I'm going to make 10 times more, and then I'll pay you back as soon as it comes out. But they're not giving you a solid business proposal or even a business plan. How are they going to be able to practically execute their plan? Is it feasible? So really look at their track record. I don't see there's anything bad. I feel like the person, their heart's in the right place. But I feel almost like they might not have been completely reliable in the past. Okay, so that's just something I want you to focus on. Okay, on the other hand, there is another person that I'm seeing over here. I have here the Princess of Wands. Princess of Wands is in the reverse position. And I'm not seeing this as a specific sign, like a fire sign, or even we have here the King of Cups, a water sign. What I'm seeing is, I saw this image that popped out, and it's like a cartoon animal, a cartoon creature. It's pink. It looks like a teddy bear, or even like a cartoon, like a Japanese anime cartoon, even like a Pokemon. But either way, it looks like a pet, like a really cute animal. It's pink. It has like whiskers. It has ears. It has a fluffy tail, and it's really cute to look at. So it's in a home environment. And what I feel is, it stays home. You have to feed it. You have to give it water. It potentially eats your food, and it could, pee or poop on the rug, and then you have to clean it up. Okay, so I feel like there is somebody here that is kind of, I feel like they might be taking advantage of a situation, or they are creating a lot more work for you, and they're not really pulling their weight. They're not really pulling their weight. Sure, they're cute and cuddly and warm and comforting, and their presence is great. But I feel like that animal, it just looks cute. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't even have a function. It doesn't guard your house. It's just something that's cute or pretty to look at. It eats your food. It dirties or soils your house. You have to constantly give it attention. You have to walk it. You have to take care of it. And so the energy exchange, the give and take, is really not reciprocal. I feel for some of you, you might be interested in a person and you're courting them, like you're hardcore, like just full on showing them you're interested. You might be whining and dining the other person. I usually think of this as, the romantic person, the Casanova, the one that wines and dines others. You're showing somebody that you're really interested in them. You're very attracted to them as well. And I almost feel like they're aware of it, and they're kind of either milking it, or they have this sense of entitlement about them. Since you like me so much, why don't you take care of me? And I want you to be very, very careful about that, because I feel like for many of you, you don't mind. Because that generosity card came out first, you don't mind. But I feel like it's just the law of karma. Things have to be reciprocal. Give yourself to reciprocal relationship partners. Give your time and your energy to people that are deserving of it, to people that appreciate it, and to people that will reciprocate for you. Because as we progress through life, you will start to notice too that energy and time are very limited. So we need to devote our energy and our time to people that deserve it, and to people that we want to share that space with and who can reciprocate for us. As we get older, and I feel like for many of you, you might be watching this, you guys are on the younger age spectrum. But as you get older, and this is what I've noticed too, the demands of work, the demands of friends, the demands of family, parents, aging parents, work, trying to get ahead in your work environment, you're being pulled. You're going to start to feel like you're being pulled in multiple directions, and you don't have a lot of your time to give, and you're going to find that you don't have a lot of energy to give to others. And so it's really good practice to start at a young age, to learn to say no, to draw boundaries, and to not let other people take care of you. Or, I'm sorry, not let other people, not let other people take care of you. Learn to be self-sufficient, but also not let other people take advantage of you. Okay. And then for some of you too, this could be your energy, the the Page of Wands. And there's somebody who's very, very, very much interested in you. They're like really attracted to you, really, really interested in you. They either want to take care of you, like, I feel like somebody that wants to give you money so that you can date them. I feel that. Somebody who is potentially a lot older and they want to have something with you where they take care of you. And it's like, yes, it's all great and good, but we have to learn to be self-sufficient, and we have to learn that relationships need to always be reciprocal. I feel for some of you, you might have gotten out of a relationship that was quite tumultuous, okay? Like a breakup of a situation where you might have been married and you're separated. You might have been married and you're divorced, or you might have lived with somebody that you had a very significant relationship with. And you've given a lot of yourself, and the other person just, there wasn't that sense of reciprocity. And you're a little bit jaded, and you're meeting somebody new who adores you, absolutely adores you. We have a potential water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And I almost feel like, I feel like you might not love them 100%, but you've been jaded. So you're just like, I'm going to go with this relationship because this person loves me more than I love them. And as a result of it, they're never going to leave me because they love me more than I love them. And so you feel like there is a safety and security in that differential between who loves who more. If they love me more, they're not going to leave me. And so you stay in it, even though your heart is not 100% complete in that union. Does that make sense? I feel there is an apology with a person from your past. They're coming to you and they're offering you an apology. This has been long awaited. This has been years in the making. This person seems to me to be very, very stubborn. Their energy, the Magician in the reverse. And I feel like there was a lot of love caught up with this person. And I feel like they're finally seeing the forest for the trees. And they're going to give you that apology. Okay? I hope the reading is helpful for you, Aries. And if you have, watched it, the entire video to this point, I feel like you have to be good to yourself. You have to know your worth. You have to understand that things need to be reciprocal. That is the karmic way of the universe. That is what we're supposed to do. It's our obligation to one another. Have an equal exchange of energy in all of our social relationships, love relationships, family relationships. Because when things are lopsided and wobbly, there's always going to be, that day of reckoning when these imbalances need to be restored. And it can be a little bit, it's going to be usually a painful adjustment to restore these energetic imbalances, okay? Your day of reckoning here is coming because we have here the Judgment card, communication, contact, and we have this situation here. This is the Knight of Pentacles, and I feel like somebody is coming in because they want to offer an apology. And I feel like you've had a really long but also painful history with this person, Three of Swords. And they are aware of their actions in the past. And I feel like, with every type of an interaction, it requires, it takes two to tango, right? They're aware that they made some mistakes. They're aware of their actions. They're aware of how the things they did and the things they say affected you. And so I feel like you have a long awaited apology that's coming through.